I want to introduce Marshall Hurd. He's the Chief Operations Officer at Thermopylae Sciences and Technology, and a good friend for at least the last 10 years. He's a great mentor for my son. It's hard to believe we've known each other for so long, Marshall, but thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. We're thinking back through this, and I was like, wow, it's been at least 10, 12 years. So
it's crazy.
It's been a while.
Time flies. Time flies, and we have different color hair than maybe even when we met.
Yes. My beard is much lighter now. Same with my hair, much grayer.
So for those who haven't got a chance to know you over the years, talk a bit about your background, where you're from, who you are, and what you do.
Sure, yeah. So born and raised in Georgia, in rural northeast Georgia. And I like to say that my town still does not have a stoplight. So it's pretty small, but left there, joined the military, and started my career through the military, and basically just did some time there, and got fortunate on a couple of good lucky breaks, and somehow managed to make my way into the government contracting world, and work my way all the way up to a chief operations officer for a small to medium-sized company.
So now, when you were in the military, was that career relative to what you're doing now, or was it something completely different?
It was slightly relative, and by that I mean I picked my job based off which one had the longest education. So I didn't go to college. I was looking for how do I get smarter in the world and make some more money, quite honestly. And I figured the one that had the longest education, the longest schooling, was probably the one that would springboard me later on in life. So I went in kind of cold and blind, but it was in the intel field, and allowed me to do some IT, which then, again, it kind of dumb lucked right into management after that a few years later. So, yeah.
What's dumb luck mean? Is it somebody you knew, just the right place, right time?
A little bit of both along the way. So one of the first opportunities I got to be a manager in the corporate world was I was working late and I answered the phone, and it was my boss's boss who said, "Hey, I need a PM. Can you be a program manager for me on this work?" And I said, "Sure." So just kind of, I think he wanted my boss, to be honest, but that afforded me the opportunity to become a program manager and to dive into that world, and that really kind of moved me out of the IT hands-on into the management side, which there's pros and cons to that. You immediately begin losing your IT skills. So just a warning out there for anybody who's like, I need to make money by going management, you begin to become less skillful on the keyboard pretty quickly.
No, I agree with you. That's same problem I had. So did you, you had that opportunity drop in your lap, so you didn't really have to weigh the pros and cons of that at the time. You just saw that as certainly upward momentum.
Yeah, definitely it was hey, the boss says, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I'm not going to turn down that opportunity. Right. It's good for the company. It's good for me from a career standpoint. And it moved me, again, further up the chain after that, I'd say fairly rapidly, but I've had to pay my dues. I like to say that I've never asked for a raise or for a promotion. It just kind of was one of those, I've kept my nose down to the grindstone and just kind of worked through it. So
nice. So now, how does that turn into a chief operations officer? That's a pretty big job.
It is. Again, I was fortunate with some of the people that I knew. A good friend of mine started a company, and a year or two after he started it, I gave him a call, and he offered me just a program management job. And again, been with Thermopylae since 2008, and worked my way up from program manager to senior to executive program manager, and then operations officer. And really, it was just kind of learning all of the different aspects of the business that kind of said, "Hey, look, you're now the operations officer. You're kind of doing that. So here's the title."
That's awesome, though. So you didn't go to college. Did you do any sort of other education along the way to kind of bolster your opportunity?
Yeah. So yeah, good question. So I didn't go to college right out of the military. I was working, ironically, in a cotton mill, working long hours, and I went to the manager and said, "Hey, I'd like to go to the local tech school and learn some of the computer components of the machinery that we were working on." And they said, "No, we can't do that. We're short staffed. This can't happen." And so I went to a recruiter And, and I said, hey, he says I can go to a 26-week school. And so I took my first college class in 1997, if I can date myself a little bit here. But I didn't get my bachelor's degree until 2012. So it took me 15 to 20 years to get a bachelor's degree. Military is a great place for that tuition assistance GI Bill. They paid for my college. And then I was fortunate in that the company that I worked for had a tuition assistance program, and they pretty much paid for my master's program, other than some books that I had to come out of pocket. So I have college now, but it was a non-traditional route to get there. Definitely a school of hard knocks, so to speak, sometimes.
That's awesome. So throughout your career, you've been in IT for quite some time, like myself. What's something you've witnessed that if they came to you, Marshall, said, hey, you get to make the decision that we're going to change something, or you get to propose a change that we should consider, what might that change be for you?
So there's a couple of different things there. I think in the IT world, let me back up. I won't say true IT, but if you're doing some sort of software development project that has never been done before, not a routine deployment or something like that, but a true software development program or project that is integrating two pieces of new code or making new code. It's important for folks at my level, and as the operations officer, to understand this is new, it's groundbreaking, regardless of how big it is, if it's a small in-house project or if it is a multi-million-dollar software development kind of thing. I need to be able to say it's not going to go on time. 70% of IT projects fail, I think, is the number. So it's important for stakeholders and senior stakeholders to recognize if it's important, we need to put some time and energy and money behind it. We have to go through that slow process where the developers are working as hard as they can, but they're also doing something that's never been done, truly never been done before. And so the patience that's required from the stakeholders who, we want to see our return on investment, right? We want, all right, this project is going to take 6 months. I'm at the 6-month mark. Why is it not done? So I think that's important for stakeholders to really understand that it's going to take some time, and you have to be patient, and you have to, if you believe in the project and if it's important enough, you're doing something cutting edge. And if the project's important, keep funding it. For the project themselves, I think the agile framework that everybody is using now is really important. It's that servant leadership style, removing blockers, letting people take ownership of it, and really digging into the task that they have each week or each sprint, each iteration, however you do it. That's important for them. It gives them ownership. It gives them buy-in. And then you couple that with managers, senior managers, and leaders realizing we don't have to keep everything as proprietary sometimes. We can open up the curtain a little bit and show this is why we're doing it, because knowing your why, knowing that there's a bigger picture and a bigger vision that you're working towards is important for everybody, regardless of their position at the organization. So would I change? That's a long-winded way of saying I don't know what I would change. Probably the mentality, the mindset. There's always going to be something in IT, whether it's cloud or AI or ML or whatever the buzzword happens to be that month, that's going to move the industry one way or another. So those things come and go, and maybe you're on the ground floor somewhere and you're able to create some new AI or ML algorithm. That's awesome. But even if you don't, it's going to influence your course one way or another. So I don't know what I'd change there. I don't know. Is that an answer?
It's an answer. I mean, certainly it's enough of us have not bought onto that mindset yet that if it's really important, then we need to invest not just money, but also time, right? Time into it. And sometimes time equals money, but focus also makes a difference. So I think that's a great change. I think you're right. There's still plenty of IT projects that fail because we don't give it the right focus.
Right. And patience, right? Again, I know it's hard, just figure it out, right? But at the same time, I have to be patient and go, this is hard. And we do need to bring in the right resources, bring in an additional engineer or architect or whatever is needed to make it successful.
So what's next for you, or what's next for, the business you're working in?
Thermopylae was recently purchased by a company known as Hexagon US Federal. It's a large company. It's geo-focused and it's got some products. Thermopylae as an organization, we're wholly owned subsidiary right now, but we're going to be folded up underneath Hexagon sometime in 2022. And I think, again, anytime a large company purchases a small business, there's potential for advancement within that new large organization. And so I'm open to that. I've been doing military or DoD style work for the last 28 years or something. I've been in that world. I'll probably be in that world, continuing to do something for DoD and for the defense industry. But I could see businesses reacting to COVID differently, and there's an opportunity there for you don't need as much overhead. You don't need as much the big buildings, the big conference rooms. Sure, it's good to get together and solve problems, but you don't have to be in the same room all the time. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's, again, coming from Thermopylae, I kind of use the term a Spartanistic or Spartan kind of mentality, not in the complexity of the problems that you solve, but in the manner in which you just have stuff laying around that you don't need, excess. And so, maybe doing something along the lines of that within an organization. Who knows? We'll have to see what the future holds. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm doing good things. I work for a great small and a great large, and we work with a great government customers supporting folks that protect the nation. So I'm happy there.
Awesome. Well, Marshall, thank you for coming on the podcast today. This has been great catching up with you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate the invite. Talk to you later.